Hi everyone. Hello and welcome to the airport domain session as part of the buildingSMART International Summit, Singapore 2025. Thank you for joining. My name is Laura and I will be your moderator today. Today's session is titled Airport Domain Update. The speakers for this session are shown on the screen. The session is scheduled to last 90 minutes, including time for question at the end. The session is being recorded and will be made available in the replay section of the event as soon as possible. Before I hand over to the speakers, I would like to remind you that this is a hybrid event. For online attendee, your microphone will remain muted for the duration of this session. If you wish to make a comment or ask a question, please use the chat box in the control panel. For the attendee here in the room, please keep the background noise to a minimum. And if you wish to make a comment or ask a question, please raise your hand and use a microphone. I would also like to bring to your attention that buildingSMART is committed to ensuring that participation in the development of standards is unrestricted and the process for their adoption is transparent, and standards that are developed do not favor any particular provider and are open, non-binding, and accessible to all. Please take note of our antitrust code of conduct. Now I would like to hand over to Gerard.
Usually I take the wrong button, so excuses up front. Welcome everyone here in Singapore. We're very delighted to show the update where we're working on. This morning we had a meeting with Changi Airport. This is an insight what we hope to get more airports on board, to get the standards ready. And just before the meeting, and we will come to that later, we received the first draft of the GAA standards. So that means we are making progress. Today we will show you what we're doing. We are just a small group, so we always ask airports to join us because then we are ready for the future. Today we will, does it work? Okay. This is the program, the agenda for today. We talk about airports. We talk about what makes them vulnerable. What do we have to look at? How do we at ourselves? We constantly look at ourselves. Are we doing the right thing in the right way with the right governance? So we thought of sharing that with you. Then especially, what's the reason we are trying to get the same language throughout the whole industry on airports. So therefore we need the same language, how to talk to one another, have the same entities. So that's where we show you how far we are. And then we also elaborate on BIM GIS, the working group activities, because as you might know that airports and relate to BIM and GIS. Airports in general. We thought we start with what are airports. So to give you some insights in how do we work, how does airport works, and what is the difficulty or what's the challenge for airports. They are about transportation. Just getting people from A to B, where people are there and they want to be there, and all these functionalities enabling being an airport, they more or less live on an airport. So that means that you have a lot of stakeholders, a lot of interests, you have a lot of different assets and different way of representing. All these differences need to come together. As you might remember, some conference ago, we said we need all domains. We need all domains to collaborate, one of the bigger issues. And today, I think it will be more lively for you all. What happens at airports is not only there are people coming, but there are all kind of different functionalities, but also let's say, processes that needs to looked upon. These, as you can see, this is an airport and you see a lot of things. Therefore, it's not only planes getting in, people getting in. It's in general the operations, but it's also the environment. The environment had to take. That's the reason why you also need that similar language. It's also about finance. And what, as you might have known, is that we look at the entire lifespan for OPEX, for CAPEX. There you also need a same language. Planning and quality. These are all issues that we need to talk about, and we must understand each other. It's always good to see an airport because it's also a lively image. It's more or less like railway stations and all these kind of things. It's a lot of activities, a lot of noise. There's a lot of things happening. As you can see, we have taken some pictures of airports who do support us. And this is a very famous one, as you might have known. I won't disclose which one it is. At the end, maybe you can tell me. But at the end, these airports with all these functionalities, these different flows, they need the same language, and therefore we need collaboration. Collaboration and standardization. This morning, as I already said, we talked to Changi, which is a big airport, but how they manage to operate and maintain an airport like this, they all speak the same language. But if you, for example, look at Schiphol and Changi, they more or less need the same language to help each other. And so are all the airports. We need that. We need to collaborate and we need to standardize so we can understand each other. But looking at airports, there's a lot of things you can say about it. We took some things out of it so we could use it to tell our story. As you know, airports, airlines, the aviation in general, is a very regulated industry. So that's strong. So they know that they have to collaborate and they have to create their own language. I think it's one of the most organized industry there is. So that helps us. They're all very clear and well organized because the stakes are high. If you enter a country, that's the first impression you get. And the first impression, if that's a good one, it will help you. So there's a lot of money involved, but also attention for airports. And because of the nature of airports, they are innovation driven. They always want to be the best. There's a fierce competition between all airports, so they also want to outnumber or out-innovate themselves. That's good. That helps us. For airports, maybe it's a bit of an effort, but for us it's good. But that also brings that there's fierce competition, and that fierce competition means that the openness of different airports is a bit limited. We have to take that into account. And since I'm quite some time in the aviation industry, I've seen a number of things like COVID, bird disease. Then the whole industry has to refigure it. They have to rethink how they will do it. But that also gives us a lot of opportunities. Since there is a lot of assets involved, they also need to cooperate internally. There are different stakeholders, so therefore it gives us, as in the aviation, the airports domain, gives us the opportunity to strengthen our position. Airports, they not only own it, but they operate it as well, in most cases. That means that at first they have what if they have an innovation, they benefit from it. So there is an internal incentive to work on airports and to improve them. But of course, there is a big threat, also money related, that you have to earn money. So, and you have a very sure turnover to show that you're earning money. And there's a lot of people who changes their jobs. So therefore, knowledge needs to be captured in the models as well. So bringing this all together, an interesting industry, moving industry, a lot of stakeholders, different incentives, and therefore we try to bring something for the airport domain. If you look, we always look at ourselves as airport domain. Are we doing the things right, and are we doing the right things good? So that's where we looked at ourselves. One of the strengths of the airport domain is that we are very enthusiastic. As it was mentioned yesterday, a lot of us do it in our spare time. We have members all over the globe. So having meetings, it is sometimes a bit difficult. Having people from New Zealand at 12 o'clock at night when we are talking with also the States on the line, that's always difficult. We do have a complete representation of the market. For me, myself, I'm from NACO, I'm an airport consultant. So that means we design and plan airports, but there's also, there's of course a number of airports, construction companies, all of there are, so we can share the knowledge. This is the basis, of course, for the entire life cycle of information, which is very necessary. Strengths also come with weaknesses. It's a voluntary nature. We don't have that many people who can help us. And usually we are working on the technical approach. But we also forget that you can have a perfect technical solution, but everyone must know it. So summits like this, we can use to show what we're doing. And we do have opportunities. We see opportunities. As I said, this morning we had a meeting with Changi. We were accompanied by people from the board from buildingSMART. So we are seen. We want to get further. We want to help each other. And there are, of course, also a lot of software developments. You can see it at the other area where we can have lunch. You see there's a lot of things happening, and they have the opportunity to show themselves. But having these strengths, we also have threats. We have limited resources, and we do have a lot of work to do. And I think all people involved will say, that's right. But how do we, but at the end, we like to, and this is the statement we made quite some years ago, we want to enable airports to capitalize on digitization of the built environment to enhance management of assets throughout their life cycle. Everything is encapsulated with this. So we want a life cycle approach of all the information. So that means that we have to define our roadmap. We are from the airport domain, the committee, the steering committee. So we have to put, where do we want to go? We want to declare a clear why. Why do we want to do it? Why do we want, and how do we do it? The roadmap. And we also need to go for the challenges. Few people, lots of work. And a lot of people say, we want to help, but we have limited time. We don't know how we can cooperate. So we have to help and to streamline all the people who want to help us. So the what is also clear for us. We have to cut it into small pieces so everyone can feel responsible and can do what they can do, and it can bring brought together. So therefore, we must have a good overview, what's all needs to be done, who can do it, and bring those pieces together. Therefore, we thought to ourselves, we have to come up with a new governance structure. This is today, we only present our way of thinking in general. And in the next summit in Berlin, we will have a more comprehensive story about this. But at least we need your input on that as well. So the how, a clear governance structure. We need to have clear programs. For example, we are already working for quite some time on the airport entities program. And the technicians, they always forget marketing, but we have to show the world what we are doing. And not to forget the training and onboarding. It's not only IFC, it's also the ISO 19650, it's the buildingSMART standards and services we want to express. So that means we think about how we can look at the endeavor, how can we create awareness, knowledge, and ability. As you can see, the green part, the knowledge part, we are really thriving and we're getting further. We do have the input, we have the people who can get it any further. So next to that, knowledge will be expanded, but we will create more awareness and desire, and we'll see how we bring that further in the ability and the reinforcement. The governance in general is that we will align it to ADKAR. I will show the image afterwards, that we at least have a way, a clear road to do it. We also want to do a more agile way of working. So usually you get the long-term programs. We want to cut it into pieces and make people responsible for small tasks which will form the entire setup we need to do. We have then small task teams. Small task teams means that we do that you can do it in the time you want to do it. So it's always difficult, as I said. The time frames where we're working in is always very challenging. So that's what we try to define this. We also would like to define the responsibilities. And this overall governance structure needs to be shared, but also need to be awarded if it works. So we also want to go for awarding project, that you are proud of being part of this. And I think pride is also something that helps us. I mean, we are proud to be members of buildingSMART, but we also need to be proud of that we are working on the asset industry for the aviation. We collaborate internally, and one of our members, Louis Watts from Autodesk, he's also part of our team, came up with these ADKAR change management model. I think at the end we will share these sheets so you can go into more depth about it. For us, it is a framework in which we can get it better. We are, as a team, working together quite sometimes, and we do want to be more agile, to get faster forwards. So we want to create awareness. What is the issue? What do we need to do? And the desire, where do we want to go to? As you have seen, that the knowledge as technicians is well developed. But having the knowledge, we also need to get the ability to go further, to get it, to transfer it, and to reinforce it, to get it in every moment in a higher stage. So the first one, the awareness and the desire, we need to look more to the marketing. And we're quite fortunate. We have the buildingSMART organization, that they have a well-defined and a well-organized marketing tool. We need to create awareness by showing the analysis of what is the present situation. We need to be open, as what we have heard yesterday, where we've shown that buildingSMART has to look at itself to do the right things well. We also need to do that. We have to know where are our improvements. And you will see we need to, as example, the data dictionary, what has been shown, you see that we get further. We have to show that, communicate that, and express why we need to improve that. The reasoning is very important. So we also will develop and communicate the steps where we're working in. For us, this setup helps us to streamline as the committee to create momentum. Are we already there? You also, if you are looking at yourself, then you also must be open and honest. There's a lot to improve. I won't go into detail of everything, but we will see that we are telling the story today. There is information about what we're doing, but we also need that. We also see that we need to intensify our information sharing in the steering committee and industrial forum. As you might know, is that we have every 6 weeks we have a steering committee, and every 12 weeks we have an industry forum where we can show the industry, and the industry is looking at us. They are helping us, and they see that we want to be part of it. So we must communicate. We have to improve that, and our roadmap, the clear view on the what and the why, needs to be expressed. I'm always struggling with these kind of things. There it is. And now I can hand it over to Ariska.
Thank you. Yeah, going over the knowledge part of it, as Gerard mentioned in the previous slide, we're actually doing pretty good with the knowledge part. And we kind of translated the knowledge to the airport domain into different programs. And an example of it is the Airport Entities Program, which has a new name again. Before it was the Airport Entities Project, and before that it was the IFC Airport Project, I think. So it's had a lot of names. Hopefully we'll stick to this one for now. But we're calling it a program so that we can use the knowledge from the aviation industry to create new programs as well, based on the questions that are being asked from the different airports. But to focus a little bit on the Airport Entities Program, which we've been working on for a while now, we kind of changed the setup. So how we started with the project is that it's a small working group that has been working on it for quite some time now, by creating a list of airport-specific objects that are currently missing from the schema. And what we've been doing is just whenever we have time, in our free time, we try to meet once a week online with the time difference. So not everyone can always join the calls. We're trying to go through the list of objects, mapping them to IFC, and creating the surveys, sending out the surveys, and now we're going through the results of the surveys that were sent out. So take baggage handling, for example. We got 65 responses from people all over the world, experts all over the world, but that meant that we had to go through those 65 responses, see if they agreed with what we were doing, what we were proposing, and if they didn't agree, we have to reevaluate what we want to do, whether we still publish it or decide to go over it again, see if there's a different mapping, a different naming convention that might be better. Up until last year, that was working pretty well because we were just working in a small group, but we're showing, or a lot of people are showing interest in joining and helping, which is very exciting. But that meant that we had to kind of change the way we are working, because if I just have people joining in on calls and I can't give them specific tasks, it's very hard to keep people motivated. So we took a step back and we put the different topics, so the different surveys is actually what they are. We had the baggage handling survey, we had the terminal survey, so airport-specific objects for those different categories. And we did a lot of the work already, so we don't have to write the surveys again. So everything that is green is work that has already been done over the years. But as Gerard just mentioned, we want to assemble task teams so that we have small groups of people with a specialized expertise that can actually work. We can assign them work to do whenever they can, so we don't have to do it that 1 hour a week. And then come together, go through the results, analyze those results, and being able to kind of update the data dictionary, the buildingSMART data dictionary quicker, instead of now having to wait until everyone can meet, everyone agrees. So that's been pretty exciting. As you might know, the baggage handling systems, the results of those are published now in the buildingSMART data dictionary. So if you have a chance, enter the buildingSMART data dictionary, look up airports, and everything is in there. Very exciting work. But we still have to do all of that for the other categories as well. And so kind of focusing on those categories, what we still have to do. We've been doing a lot of work, but we do have more experts, industry leaders showing interest in helping. So how can we do that? So we have to assemble teams with specialized knowledge to work in sprints and deliver results. But we also have to look at the feedback loop. So if people are looking in the buildingSMART data dictionary and are like, wait, but this on the airport domain is not right, they can enter a request for change, and we can evaluate it and kind of create like a continuous cycle of improving the buildingSMART data dictionary airport domain. So those are two things we are focusing on right now, kind of focusing on the programs, and in this case, the airport entities program. But if we have new topics from the airport domain that we want to focus on, we have to create a similar kind of setup. So we have a clear framework that we can work in, assign tasks to people, and keep people motivated to help standardize the aviation industry. Here's just a timeline of what we have done, basically everything that I've just been telling you all about. But we started in 2020. The project actually started even before 2020. I think it started in 2018 by Alex Warp, who is now in the maritime domain. But in 2020, we kind of reintroduced the project and redefined the project scope. We've done a lot of work over the years, and right now in 2025, we primarily are focusing on the baggage handling results, uploaded them in the buildingSMART data dictionary, and we got a verified account. So that is very exciting. I think we are one of the first ones, thanks to Arthur's help as well. But we were able to meet the checklist, and we still have a few things to fix, but we are meeting the requirements. So go check it out. Would highly recommend it. I think Mike will show a little bit in the next few slides. And again, we are restructuring the airport domain as a whole, setting up a clear framework so that people can get involved and can help, so we can speed up the process instead of having to wait 5 years to upload a category in the buildingSMART data dictionary.
And to end the story a bit about the ADCAR, or at least the strategy part, which we are doing at the moment, we also want to see how we do the training. As you might know, is that there are trainings options for ISO 9650 and buildingSMART. In our own firm, we have organized the train the trainer businesses. So everyone, there are a number of people assigned to jobs to train this and to get awareness, as I told before, awareness within the organization to see how it works and what the benefits could be. So we need to get it bigger. We, as we have already said, share the governance structure, we have to set it up, and we have this new way of working set up within the airport domain. You can also make the comparison. We have made one thread, one red line. We've now showed that it's working, and all the other subjects can adhere to that and can use the same possibility. We can get the teams working on this way. We also like to reinforce this, that we have, as Ariska already said, what we're doing needs to be checked constantly. We have to have the feedback loop, and we show that it's working. And then you also see we have to look at ourselves. Are we doing the right thing? Where do we have to improve? And where can we improve our collaboration? And of course, we always ask people to help us. Help us if you feel comfortable. If you want to help us, please look at the code, and then you can help and give. We try to be digital as much as we can. Give your name and say how much time you want to spend on it. What is your specific special subject? How you want to help? What do you, and how can we reach you? That is for us, that we have learned in time that we need to connect a bit better to all of you. So please do so. But what's next?
yeah, what's next? We want to grow. We want to get more people involved. We have NACO. We have Kashida. So we have a design or a consulting company. We have a construction company. We have asset owners. We have Vienna Airport, Schiphol Airport, Auckland Airport. But we need more airports, right? We need to come together, get more people involved, get their knowledge, and standardize the aviation industry. Because if Schiphol has certain requirements, pretty sure that Changi Airport might have them too. We need other asset owners, because if you walk into an airport, it's not just airport specific objects. We have buildings, we have infrastructure, we have roads, we have a lot. It's a small city, right? So we need to talk to the other domains. We need to talk to other asset owners to see what their requirements are and align them with the airport requirements. We have designers, engineers, and contractors, but we want more. So if you are one, join us. We also need to talk to software, to the software vendors, because even though we are standardizing the aviation industry, we can't do our work without software. So we need to get them involved as well, see how they can help us, and get them involved. And last but not least, we haven't spent too much time on it yet, but it's definitely on our roadmap, is to get the manufacturers involved as well. I'm not going to go through all of this, but we did kind of like think, okay, we want those people to get involved, but what do we need from them? So we kind of put on paper, and you'll see a lot of overlap in the what do we need. But I think it's good to take a step back, look at all of those different parties that should get involved, and write down what they might be needing, so that we can use it for the airport domain and standardization. And a few things that do come back is implementation, experience, examples. We need examples from all of those different parties. We need to identify shared requirements. We want use cases, because use cases can help us define business cases, so that we can bring that back to our organizations and show them that what we are doing will be bringing value, will bring value to the different organizations. And last but not least is the why do we need this from all of those different parties. And again, a lot of overlap. And I think the top one is probably the most important one, is to create one common language for implementation, validation, and hopefully in the future also simulation. Auckland Airport actually shared a simulation with us in the past. Very, very interesting. And they also said if we were able to standardize a little bit more, we can reuse the models for simulation, saving a lot of money, saving a lot of time. So that was, I think, the biggest one that is probably relevant for all the different categories that are on paper here. Switching over to the Airport Entities Program. So this was kind of the high over. What are airports, the airport domain? What have we done so far within the airport domain? And the next couple of slides will go into the Airport Entities Program of what we have done so far. What is the Airport Entities Program? This slide, I think, has been presented for the last 5 years, so I apologize if you've seen this at every single summit. But the main challenge for us is that there is no clear and consistent schema for airport-specific objects. So if you look into the IFC schema, it's amazing. It has the core, but as an airport owner, I have a lot of issues with all of my different stakeholders, or I shouldn't say issues, I should say challenges with my different stakeholders when it comes to identifying the airport-specific objects, because they don't know what airport entity they should be using. And so the project is the creation of clear agreements within the airport community, and only focusing on the necessary parts of the IFC schema, and creating the airport entity objects within the buildingSMART data dictionary, mapping them to IFC and standardizing it that way. So more details in the next slide. The Airport Steering Committee members and the working group members, as Gerard mentioned, we come together quite often, every week with the program, the working group, but also every 6 weeks and every 12 weeks. We do come together, share knowledge, discuss the updates that we've been doing from the entities project. So here's just a list of people and all of the different countries that are involved right now.
Okay, thank you, Arishka. I'm going to talk a bit about the why and the how we are doing it. I hope you're still all awake and with me. We are going to talk about common language. So, what do we look at? Who does know what it is? Because I think everyone has seen it, and many of us have passed it, walked through it, used it. But what is it? What are we looking at? We call it, or we came up with a definition that reads ABC reader. Maybe you call it something else. It is the thing that helps you to enter a country or not, or prevents you from entering a country. We don't have a language, or we don't have a definition in IFC. It is in the IFC language, it can be anything. So, but we need, if we want to use it in our models, we need to define it. We need to give it a name, and we call it an IFC communication appliance, predefined type, user-defined, automatic border passage. So the automatic border passage is a terminology that we came up with, and that we want to give it, that we want to give to this specific thing. But it's only so IFC only offers a basic, a foundation. The foundation is this class, and we took the IFC communication appliance, and then we added something else, a type, and we used a user-defined type because there was nothing that was applicable. And we know that user-defined type is something that is not according to a standard. It's user-defined. Of course, we can do that because the standard still allows it. Maybe it will not be allowed anymore in the future, but so far it is. But we can use the BSD as an extension, and we can classify it in a specific way and give it a name, ABC reader. This is a class that we create in the airport domain for this specific item. But when we came up with this name, we started a survey among stakeholders, and as you can see, not everyone did agree with the naming. There's a lot of different ideas about how to call it. Some say it is, we said it's an ABC reader, but some say it's an automatic border control gate, automatic ticket presentation gate, luggage scale, or this is not just a reader, it's an access control, and so on. So there is not a common view on this thing. And why is it? It is because we don't define a use case, what we want to use it for. It can be a gate. It can divide two different zones, but it can also be a sensor that reads in your ticket or your passport or whatever. So depending on your use case, you might come up with different naming conventions. So it is crucial to define what we are defining. A common terminology, a common language, and this is what it's all about, what the program is about, to think about what we are going to name, why we are going to name it, and what we are going to use it for. So there will not, it's not sufficient to have the IFC, because IFC is the foundation class. It's only the basis. We need to find something additionally, but we have to define it in among a community that has the same needs. Within the airports, we have the same needs, and that we can do with the BSD. How we managed to get there, or we're still managing, is that we started with creating definitions among all these different topics that Arishka talked about already. So like the baggage topic, security, terminal, and so on. And we created IFC mappings. We came up with IFC mappings depending on the use cases that we had in mind. And afterwards, we send out surveys to all our stakeholders among the global community, and we receive the results. And now we are going through the results, and only if everyone agrees, we will put it into the data dictionary, into the airport dictionary. And then we have a common knowledge, common language that we can use, and then we can exchange and make interoperable our assets. We can communicate with manufacturers. We can communicate with other airports, and we have a machine readable and clearly defined terminology. And this is what you can find now on the BSDD. These are all our partners. So just to give you an impression who was involved, it's not all of them, but it's already many who were involved in the survey and discussing the results. And now I'm handing over to Mike to talk about the BSDD and the first verified, sorry, it's not the first, but one of the first verified dictionaries.
Thank you. Thank you. Today I'm going to talk a bit about what is currently in the buildingSMART data dictionary and what we're still going to do in the near future about it, and also how you can use it. It's also nice. So just like Ariska and Morten said, it's been verified now. So it went through a process with help from Arthur to get it verified, and now it can be used. We uploaded it last week, the last version, verified version. And in there are classes, and there are properties, there are relations. We have, at this moment, we have 31 classes, and they're all baggage handling system classes. It's not complete yet, because there are several baggage handling systems. There are conveyor systems, belt systems, tray systems. At the moment, we have the belt conveyors in here. So we captured all the belt conveyors, and they're, as a class, they're in the buildingSMART data dictionary. And if we look at inside a class, for example, the check-in conveyor, we define the name, as Morten explained. We define the URI, which is a unique code that connects to this certain class. Very important, a definition, and also a relation to the IFC entity, so a mapping, and all properties that are related to this class. So if we look at the definitions, and this is the way of common understanding, as we all know, we talk about the same thing. We came up with a format on how to capture these definitions. We came up with here, on the top side, you see an asset name, then, if existing, an abbreviation, and then represents a function. But so we went within NACO, we went to our baggage handling expert team, and we asked them, could you please find us a definition? But please don't invent a definition. Please use something that's existing from a standard, from the IATA reference manual, ICAO, from an airport standard, for example, or from an ISO standard. So our baggage handling team carried out a great job to capture all the definitions for all the classes that are currently in the data dictionary, and they linked it to the standard where it comes from. So you see it on the right side. What we also did is we defined properties for each class. So we identified first from a designer perspective, but we're also going to do that from other perspectives, from contractor, from asset owners. We defined what are the properties that are relevant to be able to carry out, for example, a design project. And here you see the list. And we not only defined the name and identified that we need a property, we also defined the units of the property. So if you look on the upside, you see conveying speed. We said, okay, conveying speed, we want to capture the conveying speed of each class of a conveyor belt or a check-in conveyor, but we want it in milliseconds. So to avoid somebody doing it in milliminutes or milliseconds is the way to do it. This makes it more machine readable, and again, it makes certain that we're all talking about the same units, the same properties, same classes. What we also did was we created a mapping to the IFC 4.3 schema, which is in the data dictionary. So now once you load in a class into your model, it also ensures that your object has the correct IFC class, and sometimes the correct predefined type, in this case, IFC conveyor segment as an entity, and a belt conveyor as a predefined type. In the future, we will try to connect to other domains and standards. And here are a couple examples. Could be to Uniclass, could be to the Dutch NOSFB, but it could also be to international standards like the IATA, ICAO, and ACI, which are airport standards. So that's work we still have to do. The other work we still have to do is we're now only taking care of the baggage handling part, but an airport has many more airport-specific entities. So think about navigational aids, nav aids, meteorological equipment, airfield, civil airfield stuff like ground lighting for the runway. We are still defining those, and we did a survey. We're processing them, and once we're finished with that and captured the definitions and the relations to the IFC mapping and the properties, they will be uploaded to the airport domain IFC extension within the buildingSMART data dictionary. So that's what's in there at this moment. But now you can also use it. And how can you use it? So here we have in Revit a baggage handling model with all the baggage handling elements. And on the right side, you see a plugin. This one was made by NACO, but there's also an open source one you can download. A plugin that connects Revit and the buildingSMART data dictionary, and in this case to the IFC extension module of the airport domain. And this makes it possible to select objects and push in all the information that's in the buildingSMART data dictionary into the objects. So it's a way of standardizing your parameters in Revit, your classification, and the IFC relations. And once you've done that, you can produce an IFC, of course, and then the information within the IFC. So it enables you to sort information to, here's an example. These are the classes, so now you can easily see what objects, you can count them. You have better understanding of your model. Here's a totally different view. Here is it from a perspective from baggage handling zones. So there are several zones, in this case, arrival, check-in, and transfer. So that information is within the models. And this is just an easy way to see how the design of the baggage handling zone, in this case, has been done. Another example is the heat dissipation zone or the power zone. All information we need, at least during the design. Another relevant thing is it also pushed in the URIs. So it pushed in a link towards the data dictionary. And so now you're able in the model to click on an object, click on the URI, it goes to the data dictionary, and there you have all the definitions of the object. So then you know, everybody knows what we're talking about. And of course, there are a lot of other properties in there, like capacity, conveying speed, the loading capacity, and the weight of objects. So that's a way of ensuring that your model contains standardized information, but there's also a way of checking if the model, for example, if you receive a model from another party, to check if the information is standardized as per the BSDD airport domain IFC extension. And that's using the IDS, the information delivery specification, of course. So we can connect we can take an IDS out of the BSDD and then check our IFC to see if it's according to the standard we've defined. So to summarize this, you can use the BSDD with your model authoring software like Revit, SketchUp, or it doesn't matter, Conic or other software, to push standardized airport data into your models, produce an IFC, and then using tools like USBIM or Solibri IDS editor to create an IDS to validate the information that is within the IFC, and if necessary, communicate it through a BCF. I'm going to give you the microphone for the conclusion.
No, this is your conclusion.
It's my conclusion. This is my conclusion. Yeah, concluding this, the this workflow just enables us to offer asset information in a digital, structured, transparent, and accessible way for current and future use, and during the whole life cycle of information.
Thank you, Mike. So that was kind of the work that we have been doing these last couple of months, which has been quite exciting. We're very excited. But looking ahead, what do we want to do besides the whole framework that Gerard explained? We had our meeting with Changi Airport this morning. I think it was very informative. They're doing a lot of interesting stuff. Hopefully we can get them on board to help us standardize. But we're also collaborating with Guangdong Airport Authority. They've been on board. They've been pushing us. They want to help. They keep asking, how can we help? And Gerard and I have to keep telling them, hold on, we're restructuring the airport domain. We'll get back to you as soon as we have those small assembly teams. But they're here today, so the presentation will actually end with a few slides from Guangdong Airport Authority to give us an update on the work that they've been doing. But looking ahead, we hope to have some more meetings together with Guangdong Airport Authority to see how they can help us, how we can maybe help them with the work that is happening on their end. So I'm not going to go over this slide because I don't speak Chinese, but they will elaborate on this slide in their presentation. But it's exciting to see that they are very involved, very much willing to help, and we're looking forward on collaborating more efficiently once we have the framework in place, and hopefully use that as an example to also get other airports on board. Another thing that we've been working on is the BIM GIS working group. I don't know if you are familiar with it. I think they have a presentation tomorrow. But the airport domain has been involved. And so Morten will tell you a little bit more about our contribution to the project or the working group that is happening as we speak.
Yeah, of course, airports are not only restricted to building information modeling, but also the GIS is a very important part to manage the whole and huge assets of airports. As you can see here, I put in the obstacle limitation zones of the airport of Vienna. That's those are surfaces that stretch for like 15 kilometers. This is something that building information modeling cannot handle at all. It's not meant to do that, and most BIM viewers or IFC viewers are not able to visualize those huge and vast assets. What we do have always is the foundation of georeferencing or the foundation of BIM and GIS interoperability topics. That's not airport specific. What we have is the need to raise awareness of georeferencing in BIM, because a lot of people are not aware of that possibility and the necessity. We need to deal with information reduction because we are going into the detail in BIM. So we are defining screws, we are defining colors. That's not important when it comes to GIS. And we need, of course, a mapping, a transformation to keep the data flowing. What we also need is a common ontology. That is crucial if you don't want to always adopt a new language when you switch the scale. When you go into the GIS environment and you go back to the BIM, you don't need always to rename something. And then we came, of course, to scale and context. But the BIM and GIS working group that will have a small session tomorrow has gathered user stories among all domains recently. So during the last half a year, we've come up with stories among the infrastructure domain, within the maritime domain, and so on. And we sat together in the airport domain and thought about stories that we have. And one, for example, was the building height validation. So checking the compliance of buildings according to the ICAO standards for obstacle limitation surfaces. We have the field of view or line of sight analysis. So sometimes when we plan new buildings, we need to make sure that the visibility is given, for example, from the control tower to the taxiways or to the apron or wherever. This is something where BIM, where GIS comes in handy. We have also just the asset management or the real estate management issues. If we want to design a new building or a new asset, we can derive data from the GIS and bring it into the BIM authoring tool. That is something that is important. And we don't want to carry that stuff in manually. We don't want to copy it from a PDF. Other topics are, for example, the emergency response. Emergencies can happen anywhere at the airport, and we need to quickly find fast routes for firefighters, for example, and those routes start in a building, maybe on the 20th floor, and end somewhere on the apron, or the other way around. Not for emergencies. A big topic is passenger experience. This is not defined. There are many use cases among passenger experience. You could link GIS information about your flight or the status of your plane within indoor navigation or within your specific location. And of course, facility and asset management. This will definitely be done in GIS, but combining a lot of building models and data from the BIM. So here are just a few visualizations of what we could do, what we have been doing. This is, for example, a small exemplary building that is checked against the obstacle limitation surfaces at Vienna Airport. Building comes from the BIM domain and has to be checked in the GIS domain. This is an example of a visual of a field of view and line of sight analysis to check whether the visibility is still given or not. And all those processes can be kind of standardized, and we can define common use cases. That's what we are doing right now in the BIM and GIS working group. So this is one of the last slides for the first part.
Yes, thank you. So kind of concluding everything we've been talking about today, I think the most important one is that asset management and information management are inseparable. They need each other. You can't do asset management without information management. You can't do information management without asset management. So even going back to the slide where we want airports and other asset owners involved, we don't just mean the technical people. We also want the subject matter experts. We want the experts from the field to give us input, what their requirements are, and then the technical people are able to realize it. We need each other throughout lifecycle management. We need a single source of truth in order to enhance lifecycle information management. We're using the BSTD right now, where we are placing our airport-specific objects and the requirements that we all agreed on with airports experts worldwide. And we must strive for better communication between all stakeholders. I don't know about you guys, but I work for Schiphol Airport, and the biggest challenge is the communication between all of the different stakeholders involved, especially when we look at data and information management. So in order to do that, we also need to look at the processes that are in place. An example of that is the ISO 19650 or an information delivery manual. We need to streamline those processes with the technology in order to improve that collaboration between all of the different stakeholders. I'm not going to go through all of them, but the last one I do find important for at least the airport domain, because that's what we've been talking about today, and that is the new organization and governance. So from the airport domain, we need to collaborate better. We need to set up a clear framework for people to understand. We need to market a little bit more, go out on the stage, show the world what we are doing, and also in a language that is understandable for more people than just the technical people, in order to get more people on board. So I think that is our biggest takeaway from the work that we've been doing the last couple of months, but of course also the developments with the baggage handling results in the buildingSMART data dictionary. So with that, I want to hand it over to Guangdong Airport Authority. Thank you.
Hello everyone. I'm Wang Jianyu from Guangdong Airport Authority, and today I want to share with you our recent work. Next, please allow me speak in Chinese. 正如Ariska 刚刚概括介绍的，我们想补充一些细节，以确定我们和机场组其他的同事的工作方向是一致的。
As a risk just summarized, I would like to add some details to ensure that we are all on the same page regarding our directions.
广东机场集团目前正积极参与机场的实体项目。我们根据正在建设的白云机场3期扩建工程所建立的机场实体进行了梳理。就是讲到进行梳理，广东讲的是像I'm sorry， 广东那您就直接说吧，梳理那个位置。
Okay, Guangdong Airport Authority is actively involved in the airport physical projects. We have conducted a detailed review of the airport physical entities based on the ongoing constructions of the Phase 3 expansion project of Huaiyun International Airport. The total number of the entity types exceeded 5,700, which were extended based on the Omni-class classification system.
虽然呢，这些实体大多数的拓展元素类型呢，并不专属于机场领域如建筑、结构、机电等。因此，我们下一步准备合并一些相似的类别，并且匹配已识别的实体，并为进一步的讨论提供更多的细节。
Although most of these extended entity types are not unique to the airport sector, such as building, structure, and MEP, we plan to merge some similar categories in the next step, matching them with identified entities, and provide more detailed information for further discussion.
另外呢，我们还在中国民航局牵头编制了工程对象分类的编码标准，我们也翻译了部分的内容。 与大家交流。
In addition, we have a participant in the engineering object and classification and coding standard lead by the Civil Aviation Administration of China.
该标准是参考国际标准 ISO 12006-2的编制思路，基于工程对象的功能逻辑与物理属性。 建立了项目、系统、构件、零件4层分类结构，完成了机场专业工程、空间、系统、元素、分布分项等梳理，对机场工程对象开展并用力发挥更加关键的作用。
We have also translated some parts of it for sharing with everyone. This standard is developed with the reference to the international standard ISO 12066-2. It is based on the function logic and the physical attributes of engineering objects and establish the 4-level classification framework of project, system, component, and parts. It has completed the organization of airport specific engineering space, system elements, and subdivision and components, which plays a key role in defining airport engineering objects and promoting BIM use cases.
接下来呢，我们就机场实体的合并、映射与扩展，以及 FC Airport 2.2的分类编码问题，将继续与项目团队进行交流。期待机场实体项目对建设和运维都发挥基础性作用。
Moving forward, we will continue to communicate with the project team on the merging, mapping, and extension of airport entities, as well as the classification and coding issues of IFC Airport 2.2. We look forward to the airport entity project playing a fundamental role in both construction and operation.
最后呢，我们这里有一个小小的邀请，在2025年的9月，我们 ACI 的机场体验全球大会，以及中国广州2025年国际机场博览会将在广州举办。在大会上，我们将与来自全世界的机场以及民用航空服务商，就智能建造 BIM 技术的发展开展讨论。在此，我向在座的各位发出邀請，希望能在9月在廣州與各位相會。
The last slide shows that in September 2025, the ACI Airport Experience Global Conference and the 2025 Guangzhou International Airport Expo will be held in Guangzhou. At the conference, we will discuss the development of intelligence construction and BMI technology with airport and civil aviation service providers from around the world. On behalf of Guangdong Airport Authority, I would like to extend an invitation to all members to BSI to join us in Guangzhou in September. Thank you.
Thank you.
Laura. Thank you very much. That would conclude our session. Are there any questions from the audience?
I would like to know whether the standard here that you will also adopt a Omni class in the buildingSMART here.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, I'll repeat it again. Because I can see that the Guangdong Airport, you have adopted the Omni class as the classification for the assets. Is it same to the buildingSMART here?
I think that's a nice thing about buildingSMART data dictionaries. You can connect to all other domains. I think if there's a use case that makes it necessary to connect also to the Omni class, I think then we need to do that. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And my another question is about Guangzhou Airport here. Perhaps I use 普通话。其实你们在用那个 Omni class 的时候，其实是不是有考虑为什么要用那个 Omni class， 而不是其他可能有一些叫 Unique class， 还有其他的一些 classification， 你们是有什么考虑的？
Maybe it's good to have a translation first for
that's
all the
right.
others. Then we.
Sorry,
my Chinese is a bit rusty.
Yeah.
So
another question is because the Guangzhou Airport friends that they have choose Omni class as the classification. Is there any decision making that they choose Omni class instead of other international classifications such as the Unique class? So both. 可以。
因为在这个标准里面呢，是有我们BSI 的这个同事未来这个参与，所以说公共 class
未来先生
想其实是在这个民航局中国民航局的标准的体现，所以我们其实是在延续这个公共 class 的这种项目的时候，项目标准编制。
It is created and developed by Mr. Wei Lai. So what we want to define this using the Omni class is from his source and initially, and next we were still using this Omni class as the classification.
Oh, thank you. One more question. Sorry.
Can I go? I just have one comment on it. I think it's kind of in line with what Mike was saying as well. Is Omni class or Uniclass, or in Holland, for example, for Schiphol, we use the NLSFB code. And I think yes, the power of the buildingSMART data dictionary is that you can map to the different classifications. So we're all pretty free in whatever classification you want to use, as long as you have the mapping to IFC done correctly. which we could look at from a perspective from the airport domain. But I don't think we can tell all airports to stop using OmniClass. Like, that's not going to happen.
Oh, thank you.
Maybe I can add a bit to that before you start. Is that
yes,
precisely what we want to do here? As you can see, it's very difficult to understand each other, not only by language. I mean, you maybe, if I talk Dutch, maybe you don't understand it, but at least in our profession, talking about the assets, we need to understand each other. And for that reason, this is really crucial, that we have a translation part, not only literally, but also our asset translation that is there. So we need a common language talking about our assets. And that's specific, one of the goals of buildingSMART. Yeah, but I was a bit, did you want to add something?
They wanted to, oh. Oh. For Laura.
Yes, I would like to provide more explanation about that question. Yeah. We has a good collaboration with BSI before we provide this standard. So some sort we have been following the BSI. So why we use Omni classes? I think that is the reason for us.
Thank you.
Just a simple question. Is the BSDD can be potentially replace OmniClass or other classification that to be a more common classification system for all object building or civil objects?
I think Arthur can answer that the best.
Hi, Arthur from buildingSMART, and I'm the BSDD product manager. The goal is not to replace any classification, but it's like an open forum where people can upload classifications, the owners, that they can publish those, and they can be mapped to each other so that you can have this translation of the semantics, let's say. So no, we don't plan to like replace and have just IFC. The plan is to allow people to extend IFC with additional terms that they need. And OmniClass right now is not in BSDD, but we are not the ones to publish it because it's owned by CSI organization. And yeah, as far as I know, this is a paid system, so they don't want to share it with people. So if they do, then others will be able to link to OmniClass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. Actually, I'm Hansi. I worked on Hong Kong Airport BIM consultancy as well as now working with Taiwanese airport authority on some of the airports there. I just have a question about data security because a lot of us actually want to share or contribute to the aviation aspect of digital twin or digital transformation, but because as you know, a lot of airports have a lot of secure information that the clients are very sensitive for us to share. So I'm wondering if this task group or this domain has any kind of more specific security related regulation that can help us to convince our clients that it's actually quite well thought out, that we can actually easily share some of our knowledge without breaching some of the clients' concerns.
I think it's kind of in the slide that Morten presented. The focus for us primarily is just that common language that you have at all airports. So the ABC reader, for example, that was on the image, we have an ABC reader, I think, at every airport that you'll go to. And we don't go into detail about the data itself. We're defining what an ABC reader is. We give it a definition. Maybe some common properties that we all want to know, like, I don't know, for, you know the more details about maybe some examples, but just some very common properties that are involved, but we're not going into depth about any personal data from airports. It's just defining those airport-specific objects and sharing that language with each other. And then, especially with the BSDD, I mean, Schiphol has done so. We have more properties that we want from a Schiphol perspective, but we link it. We have a linking rule set to IFC, so they're not published anywhere. It's for Schiphol only, and in there's more requirements that are not shared with the rest of the world. But it's like, I don't even mention it in the airport domain sessions. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think you said almost everything
sorry.
about that topic, but I can add that we don't publish any values, so it's just this data structure that is published on the BSDD. And the other aspect, it's not only security related, but there are often manufacturers who don't want to share their models because they fear product theft, that someone else will steal the product or see how they define things. But in the end, we as clients, as an airport, for example, we demand the data. So we do not demand their secrets, but the data that we need to manage our asset is crucial, and we demand that. But that's common among all airports, so it's not a secret. And manufacturers may reduce their models before they hand them over to us, so they can just create a specific export setup for their models and say, this is the airport export. And then we get the structure, and we have it structured according to the airport domain BSDD dictionary, and that's it. No secrets handed over.
Thank you.
Maybe, Arthur, I don't know if it's still in place, but say, for example, if Schiphol wanted to upload the data dictionary for Schiphol to the BSDD, it is possible to get a closed account as well. Is that still the case?
Yes, that's still the case. So BSDD is mainly this open database, but for some special cases, it's possible to have an account that is only accessible to people who are listed by you. And yeah, this is like additional service on top of the same platform. And this is a paid service because, yeah, we believe that it should be free as long as you are sharing with the community. But if you need a closed system, it's a paid service. So it's possible. If you want to know more, we can talk after this session.
Thank you. It might be something in relation to your question as well, if you do have.
But we should not forget that it's only a way of working. It's not the actual facts, what we are sharing. So therefore, put it behind bars or behind a gate means that I don't want to share. We really want to share to get better. But the content, what we share is private. That's what we own. That's what's there. There are no risks in that sense. So we already thought ourselves as a consultant company, this is knowledge, and then we live. So what you can see, there is a paradigm shift. We need to share to get better. That's different than in the past. In the past, we had our knowledge and we sat on it, but now we need to share. So we try to avoid put it behind a gate that you can use it. So the real content is yourself, it's what you the values, but the way we work, the language, that's what we share. So we try to avoid the closed barriers.
Any other questions?
So this is the first one. We really went to the end. And we had such a large audience, so it's perfect. We are very happy. We didn't understand each other. We need interpreters, but we at least within the data dictionary, with the way of working, we can share information. So for us, it's perfect. Thank you very much. And hopefully you will put, is there anything that you want to say? No? Then we all want to thank you. And hopefully we'll meet each other in the airport domain.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.